button. Push the button.
Hello!
Hello.
Hello! Welcome to Nobody Asked. This show that no one asked for and is backed by popular demand. My name is Colin, and that over there is my mom. Say hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom. No, was that what I was supposed to
Ah,
do?
you are so clever. Her name is Maria. We talk about politics so that you can hear some people that think the same things you do. And if we don't say the same things you do, better go to a different echo chamber.
Yep. We got to all agree 100% on all things. All things. Those are the
No,
rules.
it's no good to hear new opinions. Whenever I hear a
Oh,
new opinion, I go, patooey.
nuance is for chumps, and we don't like chumps around
Yes.
here.
Yes, I shoot nuance. I shoot nuance in the ear. Well, it's another episode, and this one is not one that I planned. So
No.
you tell me where we're starting, Ma.
All right. I planned it lazily, to be fair, because I wasn't feeling it this week. And I think we'll get to that at the end. But, sometimes it's a waterfall of terrible information out there and terrible things happening. And you just can't be in it 24/7. You just can't. And so I was a little lazy with it today. But, I did want to talk about America First is kind of the idea. And I remember when I first heard of the idea of America First from the great Donald Trump. It seemed like at the time he was really focused on NATO and the idea
Mm-hmm.
that NATO doesn't pay its bills. America's doing everything for the world, and we're not getting paid for it. And so at the time, I kind of viewed it as like, does he want us to be a paid military? Like, are we mercenaries now? Are we like soldiers for hire? Like, that was the way that I read it at the time. But there's a lot of ways you can take the idea of American First. You can take it, some isolationist ideas. There's a lot of ways to interpret it. And you know, some of the things he does under the I don't know, the headline of America First, you have to wonder if in the long run we are hurting ourselves. So I think what I would start with is I just kind of this week there's been a lot of talk from Trump about India in particular. He seems very, very mad at India because they're still buying Russian oil, which seems like okay. A lot of people are still buying Russian oil, whether we want to admit it or not. And also, every other day you and Putin are best friends. So do you like Putin or do you not like Putin? You can never quite be sure with Donald Trump because let's be real, Trump gets his feelings hurt very easily. And so that's what I think is happening here. So there was a little summit the other day. In here, I got a lovely picture of it. Let me see if I can pull this up. We have this summit. So we can see Putin there looking all cheerful in his purple tie.
Three cool guys.
And then we've got the leader of India. His name is Modi. And then we've got Xi from China having a wonderful summit of people who definitely have America's interests at heart, right? And look at their holding hands. The idea that Putin would hold anybody's hands is something. But this
Three
is like
of the four, maybe five most notorious war criminals. they're out there right now.
Yeah. So
or
we have
just
this
racist,
going on. We have this going on. And it seemed like it seemed like they were having a great time. From the images you got from social media. These three guys look like they were on a dude's weekend, going fishing, drinking beer, but
boys' night.
Boys' night. They were having their boys' night. They were playing Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know what they were doing, but they were having a good time. So Trump got mad at this, and I just want to also, what was it? It was a month ago, maybe 2 months ago, that Putin was in Alaska to meet with Trump. And let's go to the next slide. So here he is, he rolled out the red carpet literally for Putin because he wants to be this dude's best friend. He loves him. And now I'm not sure. This looks like a gentle, loving scolding that Putin is giving Donald Trump. I'm not sure what is going on in this image, but it is a beautiful image. But it ended up being a very short meeting. Nothing was resolved. It was under the guise of, okay, let's get a ceasefire. Let's make peace between Russia and Ukraine because I said I was going to do it on day one and I'm behind schedule. I need to get my Nobel Peace Prize. Let's go back.
Yep.
I'm going to just go back for a second, back to India for a second, right? Another reason that Trump might be mad at Mr. Modi in the middle is, according to Trump, he should get a Nobel Peace Prize because of all of the 6 wars that he has ended. One of them between India and Pakistan, allegedly. Now, this irritates Modi because that didn't happen as far as he's concerned. One, this wasn't, they had a little bit of a skirmish going on, but they always do. And Trump, coming in solved nothing. He's not going to get his accolades from Modi about it because nothing was solved. There's no unilateral anything that has come out of it. This particular skirmish is not continuing, but the war is not over. Basically, we've got a long-standing beef with each other, and it did not end just because Trump said so. So, just want to say that. Okay. So this tweet, I wish I could make this bigger, but I didn't do a good job on this. But this tweet is actually, so there was another meeting here the other day. Now, this was we've got the leader of North Korea. So what's his name? I've lost his name. I'm sure it'll come to me. Kim Jong-un. Yeah, Kim Jong-un. Yeah. We've got President Xi from China. And I believe Putin again, but I'm not positive. Anyway, another group of spectacular people that Trump wants to be in a gang with, not invited. So here's what Donald Trump had to say about that. The big question to be answered is whether or not President Xi of China will mention the massive amount of support and blood that the United States of America gave to China in order to help it secure its freedom from a very unfriendly foreign invader. I actually don't know who he's talking about.
We're talking about Japan?
We're talking about Japan?
I think
Japan
so.
is this big compared to China. It's fascinating. Okay.
I mean, don't look up Japanese war crimes in China. I mean, this.
No, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure. Oh, wasn't there a whole
rape
city
of
of just
Nanking.
Exactly? Yeah. No, bad. You're right. Okay.
Not a good fight. Yeah, and Japan still doesn't recognize it.
Japan, no, they won't be. Right, they can't have their honor sullied with the truth. I don't know
that
any
Japan
other
has
people like that.
They've cut off relations with San Francisco because of like a statue commemorating the underage girls that were kidnapped and brought into sex slavery in Japan. And so Japan's like, we don't do business with San Francisco, but America's fine. That's like, it's real. Yeah,
okay, I'm not on top of that one.
Country relations, they're weird.
Yeah. Okay, the rest of the tweet. Let's see. I hope that they are rightfully honored and remembered for their bravery and sacrifices. May President Xi and the wonderful people of China have a great and lasting day of celebration. Please give my warmest regards to Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un as you conspire against the United States of America, President Donald J. Trump.
No, you didn't read it right.
I didn't read it right. You read it right.
President Donald J. Trump! You've got to read it in all caps.
What is this? Like the amount of sassy sarcasm in here, saying, "I hope you guys are having a great time on your boys' night without me. You conspiring bitches," is the way that you're reading. He's so jealous, and Putin is laughing the whole time, right? Because he knows what he was doing. When we talk about the idea of Russia, let me just get this off the screen for a minute. Russia interfering in our elections. It was never, like they. Thank you. It was never that they, messed with the actual voting. The votes were the votes. The votes were real. Trump won that in 2016. It was this kind of stuff. It was just, I don't think that that Putin actually cares who won. He just cares that he's messing with the United States. And that's so much easier to do with Donald Trump as the president. It's just so much easier.
Yeah. I mean, it makes you think about just how incredibly obvious it is that there's a playbook on how to deal with Donald Trump, and the fact that Donald Trump falls for it. Like I think about like the Keir Starmer coming from the UK and giving him like a medal or something from the king, or like a letter or something from the king, or when Iran and Israel were like kind of at war, kind of not going to go to war, and there was some deal, and both Netanyahu and the Shah of Iran were like, "Thank you, Donald Trump. What you've done for peace in the world has been incredible." And they're just, no matter the actual reality, they know that there is no cost to them for just buttering up Trump, and there's so much to be gained, and everyone else has a brain and can see what they're doing. So there's no downside to it. There's no downside to being like, this was all Trump. Trump is incredible, because they're so heavy-handed about it that the only person that doesn't get the joke is Donald Trump. And that's who's representing us. That's who's the face of America right now. And it's great. A guy who's just completely, just an absolute boob.
Such a boob.
Manipulated by all these world leaders that, have brains.
Such a boob. Okay, so I think I had one more tweet on the slide. If I get this back up here. Boop.
Here, do you want me to put it back on?
Oh yeah, thank you. Was this the one? No, this is the next one. Boop. What few people understand is that we do very little business with India. So we're back on India.
Yep.
But they do a tremendous amount of business with us. In other words, they sell us massive amounts of goods, their biggest client, but we sell them very little. Until now, a totally one-sided relationship, and it has been for many decades. The reason is that India has charged us until now such high tariffs that most of any country, that our businesses are unable to sell into India. It has been a totally one-sided disaster. Also, India buys more of its oil and military products from Russia, very little from the US. They have now offered to cut their tariffs to nothing, but it's getting late. They should have done so years ago. Just some simple facts for people to ponder. It's just...
We're back to Donald Trump not knowing the difference between a trade deficit and tariffs. It's hilarious that this has not been rectified in Trump's mind. I don't know if we want to do an econ class here, but basically this is nonsense. I feel like all of our viewers are sort of on board with with that explanation. Yeah, it's I don't nonsense. Know. It's so infuriating.
And so Trump was meeting with Poland the other day, and I think one of the reporters actually asked him about India and the tariffs, and specifically, about the Russia portion of it. Like, okay, so, India's buying Russian oil. Like, are you going to do anything actually about it? He's like, what do you mean? We've got sanctions. And I think it is important to note that sanctions and tariffs are not exactly the same thing. You can use tariffs to sanction, but it is not the only tool at your disposal when sanctioning.
Mm-hmm.
And so the tariffs were that Trump put on Liberation Day against India were at 25%, and now he's increased them to 50%. It's one of those things where it's getting to a point where nobody cares. Nobody cares. These countries do not care about these tariffs. Yes, India is willing to lower. I had a hard time finding anything about what their tariff levels were, because they read differently than the way that ours are set up. So I didn't really understand what I was looking at. But so they did offer to lower them, and they thought that they had a reasonably good relationship back in April, when he was trying to make all these deals, and it was like, oh, I've just about got one with India worked out, so 25% didn't sound terrible compared to what he was saying, 90% against Canada. He was saying all kinds of weird stuff. So, but he's mad about Russian oil. Again, China takes Russian oil. Turkey does. I think a lot of Europe also takes Russian oil. And he's not upping the tariffs on them, or some of these extra rules that he's trying to throw on India around their agriculture and stuff that I don't really know the nuances of. But he was asking more of India than felt appropriate, because he thought he could get it from them, right? And he wants his victories wherever he can get them, just to say how great he is. And all it's doing is pushing India into the arms of Putin and Kim Jong-un and President Xi. It's not working the way that he wants.
Yeah, I mean, Well, okay, what is your conception of what he wants? Like we talked about America
Okay,
first as a concept, but I think that
that's
we've
true.
always thought that the far right and Donald Trump by extension is like an isolationist group, right?
Okay, that's true. They do feel like there's a certain amount of isolationist. We can look at various policies that kind of will lead you in that direction. The tariffs being part of it, which they say the reason for tariffs is to increase production in America. Of course, that can't happen overnight, and you should have other
They say there's a
policies that
few
you
reasons.
employ.
Yeah,
Right.
they have like 4 or 5 explanations for tariffs, which
Right.
are in conflict with each other. Yeah.
But one of them is the idea that we're going to increase American manufacturing and be more self-reliant and not rely on these other countries because it puts us at a deficit, some imaginary deficit with them. Um, which, listen, I wouldn't be mad at American manufacturing. It's just not realistic, especially on these timetables. You shouldn't be hurting the American people to accomplish it. And you
Mhm.
could be infusing money into the system to encourage growth here, but instead he's doing it through petty threats. It's just such a strange way to accomplish things. And
Yeah.
because he likes the bullies, he wants to be at the cool kid, mean kid table. It works in their countries that do not operate the way that our country does. So he thinks it should operate here. As you can see, as he's constantly threatening everybody that says anything he doesn't like. He's threatening to take away Rosie O'Donnell's uh, citizenship, which he cannot do. He went into what was this, John Bolton's and raided John Bolton's house just because
Yeah.
I don't know, just because the list goes on of how he's the way that he's mobilizing the military, which was always part of his plan to do that. The list goes on, and we can also point to his stance on immigration, right? That he wants to be American first, and that why are we helping immigrants in any way? They don't belong here. They shouldn't be using our systems to their benefit at all, even though that's not, it works in both directions. We gain more from them than they gain from us a lot of times. um, it doesn't matter. That's not the optics. The optics are immigrants bad. They're taking from the American people. They're taking, and we can't have that. And we can also point to Israel, right? He's real. Everybody, listen. Our entire government does not take a strong enough stance on Israel, and Trump doesn't either, right? He's ready to invest in the Riviera of whatever it is.
The Riviera of the Middle East or something,
Yeah,
like the
whatever it's called. Yeah,
Sinai
like we're
Peninsula
we're,
or
we're going to
whatever.
turn Gaza into oceanfront property, make lots of money doing that, have America be responsible, specifically Donald Trump, in creating that, which is ludicrous, ridiculous, and an awful idea. Um, and then we can look at how much we give Israel, and this was even before Trump. We've had probably the whole time Israel's existed, America has been very involved in the success of Israel. Um, and we give them a lot of money. We give them, about 3.8 billion a year on a normal year. We give them, and that is
Mhm.
with the understanding that Israel does have free healthcare. They do have free college, or it's almost free. It's very inexpensive compared to what we do. If you do military service, which most people are required to do some level of civil service for Israel, it's like 90% of your college is paid for. So, you know, we're giving them all of that, but we would never give our own people that. So it's just like it's ludicrous to say that we
Well,
are America
we're
first.
not giving them free healthcare. So this is what
You're
confuses me about your point
okay.
is
Okay.
that when we're talking about Europe and NATO, it's confusing that Trump has this idea, and this has been something that isolationist leftists have said for decades. Is that we pour all of this money into military defense and our alliances in Europe, and the Europeans do not provide their fair share of that alliance, and yet the Europeans have a higher quality of life for their people.
Right.
Socialized
Provided for by
healthcare
their
is
government. Yeah.
provided for by their governments who are not funding the military, necessity, depending on who you talk about. We are we are the funders of NATO, and we've used that for various deals and soft and hard power across the entire planet in order to be the superpower that we are. But we have done that at the cost of using those resources for increased quality of life in America. So what I'm confused about here is that it's a bad thing for Trump to do when it comes to Europe and these other alliances where we're becoming more isolationist in America first. But then with respect to Israel, we're not being America first, and we're using the same argument that isolationists have been using for that case. So I don't understand how we hold these two things simultaneously.
You know what? It is an interesting point. I think a lot of people, me included, right? You just view the government money as one big pot when it isn't one big pot. Things are allotted for specific purposes. And so it does feel like, yeah, we're giving all of this money to help Israel with its defense, which feels more like offense a lot of times, not defense. It feels like war, not defense. We'll get to that. But yeah, but they'll spend their own money to the benefit of their people, where we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't do that for our own people. No, it's interesting. Yeah. No, it's a fair point. It's a fair point.
Yeah, they also have mandatory conscription and stuff like that.
They do. But not all conscription means military service. It just means some sort of civil service. But it does make you very connected to your country and its government and how it operates then. I think, it's not necessarily a bad thing. But, Israel is doing some pretty terrible things. So
yeah. I don't know. It confuses me the way, especially in left spaces, that Israel can flip everything on its head in terms of what people think America should do. Radar.
What do you mean? What America should do?
I think that the way that people behave with respect to Israel and the way that people talk about our alliance with Israel is the philosophy behind it seems to be the mirror opposite of the philosophy that we talk about other alliances.
You might be right. I think that it is a inherently religious state, right? It is there for the Jewish people. And America was very instrumental in Israel existing. It's very biblical for Americans, particularly at the time and still now. You see now that it's like, this is the promised land. This is what I have to do if I'm a good Christian. I must support Israel. There are certain types of people like Mike Johnson who think things like this, that it doesn't really matter what Israel does. They are God's chosen people, and I will support them regardless, because it is what God commands me to do. And that's how it has been since the creation of Israel for certain religious sects, Christian sects in the United States. It has always been that. And so that is, I think, what is difficult to untangle in American politics. America has become less religious, but also the people that are religious seem more zealot than they used to. So it's an interesting, dynamic that we have here at play.
Yeah, which I think that does happen when a society secularizes, is any group that feels the walls caving in around them and feels themselves going from a majority to a minority will have these like outbursts. I think that it was predictable that white nationalism would have this massive upswing as the country went from like 70% white to 60% white to like it's looking like it's going to cross over the 50% mark. You're going to see a group that thought that they were in control radicalize in one direction as they confront the reality that they might not be the majority anymore. And I think the same thing happens with religion here. But I don't think that is the only. I know you're not saying it's the only, but I
I
do
think it's
not
important.
think that is the best argument for why America has an alliance with Israel.
See, it's the only one that makes any sense to me. I mean, I understand that, it is it's the Middle East is full of Islamic nations that are all warring each other, but bigger than that are all warring Israel also. So it
Mhm.
feels like peace. I guess keeping everybody pointing their eyes at Israel keeps them from directing their anger at the Western world that is the United States sometimes. So
Yep.
there's some weird dynamic there. Um,
Sure.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if we want to keep the war going continuously. It sometimes I have to wonder. Plus, I don't think we could stop it. I don't think we could make it go
Yeah,
away.
I mean the question is what is anyone proposing that ends the war? Like there's no that uh, you can you can make the claim that America wants the war to go on forever, um, but I don't think that there's anything America could do that would
Yeah,
convince anyone that it doesn't want to go on forever, except either completely give up its alliance with Israel, which would be, I mean, very likely a genocide on the entirety of Israelis, and or completely support, which is more the direction that our government is going, completely support a genocide against Palestinians. These are two paths for the war to end, and they're both awful. Um, I think that America's alliance with Israel certainly has a significant religious component. I think it also has a lot of Cold War components. Um, a
probably.
lot of Islamic nations were heavily aligned with the Soviet Union. Um, Israel was an America backed and very willing to be partners with America democracy in the Middle East. It is still really the only functioning democracy in the Middle East at all. Um,
Is it a
it's not a
democracy?
good democracy. It's
Yeah.
much more democracy than any other state in the Middle East. That is not arguable. Is it a good democracy?
Right.
You
Calling
know,
something a democracy
no,
doesn't inherently make it good. Yeah.
and it doesn't make every democratic system is different, right? Parliamentary democracies are still democracies. In Canada, you don't get to choose the candidate; you just get to choose a party. These are still democracies.
Yeah.
Um, in the U.S., the winner of the popular vote can not be the winner of the presidency. It's still a democracy, just not a perfectly set up one.
Yeah.
Israel's certainly not well set up. It is still a democracy. Um, and then I think that the final, and I actually think this is a smaller part of our alliance now, but it may have been the foundation upon which the long term alliance was created, um, is the reality that uh, every religion essentially has a state, um, has somewhere where that religion is empowered and and is protected and has a government apparatus which will protect its people, and yet the population which has the most recent and most notorious genocide and which has a history of micro genocides across the entire planet and a history of being blamed for basically every time any hard times happen to any country, that population doesn't have anywhere that is protected. Now it has one place that's protected, and it has been constantly getting bombed and constantly getting threatened by
It
genocide
has.
for 100 years in that location. The real best place for Jewish people to be protected is New York City. And still, I think that if you are a Jew living here, uh, I'm not convinced that you are super, you can rely upon America not becoming anti-Semitic in the next 30 years and things like pogroms
Right.
becoming more common
But
here.
but
So there
anti-Semitic
always
because
needs
of
to be a
Israel.
place for them to retreat to. What?
But anti-Semitic because of the behavior of Israel, not because
I no, I don't think so.
you don't
I
think
think
so.
that I think on the left, absolutely. I
Hmm.
absolutely think that the rise of anti-Semitism on the left is because of Israel, and I absolutely see situations where the criticisms of Israel seem to have just a slightly different tenor than the criticisms of Islamic states that are currently committing genocides against Yazidis and etc. Now, there's a million arguments for why the tenor is different. I think the strongest one is that this is the main one that America is allied with. except for the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates. But there's a different tenor to it. I absolutely think that that's why anti-Semitism is coming in from the left. But from the right, it's conspiratorial, classic anti-Semitism. It's the reason that I don't have things is that Jews control the media and Jews control the banks and Jews control the government, right? It's just classic, vintage, antique anti-Semitism on the right, and I do think it's rising. So they need some radar, for the love of God. They need somewhere to live where they are defended. Is it possible this is the worst place on earth to have selected? It's possible. It's possible. I don't think it is the worst. It was a relatively dispopulated area. It was originally formed through the purchase of land legally. But it is also Holy Land, which is just a whole pain in the ass.
Yes.
I just don't think it's just the thing. I just don't think that isolationism for ye, not for thee, is the right way to look at this whole thing.
Sure.
Hello.
Let's see what else I want to talk about. I guess another thing I wanted to talk about with regard to the American First thing is, as we have, theoretically, we should be creating manufacturing jobs everywhere. Beautiful, because of the tariffs. Or we've shoved all the immigrants out that have stolen our jobs, allegedly. Shouldn't all of these jobs just be opening up everywhere right now? And that does not appear to be the case. Let's see. Can we get this thing back up on the screen? Help me. How do I put this on the screen? Is it this box? Oh, here we go. Let's see. Unemployment. So this month, unemployed workers outnumbered available jobs for the first time since COVID. The number of job openings decreased by more in July than economists were expecting as the labor market recalibrates in response to President Trump's trade war and immigration crackdown. Open jobs in the monthly JOLTS survey fell to around 7.2 million, down from 7.4 in June. The Labor Department reported Wednesday. Economic forecasts for the reported range. So what was that? That was the number of jobs. And I believe that the number of workers was like, it was like if one was 7.2, the other one was like 7.3. They're just off. It's not like they're off by a huge, well, we're talking about millions though. But again, there are not enough jobs for the number of unemployed people right now, which hasn't happened since 2021 and COVID.
Unemployed workers.
Unemployed workers.
Unemployed people is actually a bigger number. This is always sort of a weird economic thing that has to be clarified. When job numbers and unemployment rates come out, they are only including actively engaged members of the economy. So people get cut out if they don't seek a job for 2 years, or they're not actively seeking a job, or they're unable to work. So these are people that are looking for work that are unemployed.
Exactly. And yes, the jobs for them are not there like one would hope based on these alleged policies of Donald Trump. So it's not working. A lot of people, I think, because they know how hard the job market is right now, are not job hopping the way that they used to. People are staying in the positions they're in. Because you're kind of handcuffed to your job right now. That's just the situation for right now. And I mean, obviously it's the same thing for employers, where they are also like, they're not necessarily willing to invest the way one might hope, because everything is so volatile. You can't trust anything in this market. Are they gonna spend a bunch of money to start manufacturing something, or to create a new factory, or to do anything right now? No,
absolutely
they're not going
to. No. And so many things. The entirety of running a business, it is all predicated upon consistency. Decisions that you make are based on, very often, a forward view that says there's a 98% chance that X will occur. Of course, we're going to make some plans for the 2% chance that COVID begins, right? That always something insane can happen. But now it feels like 50%. There's a 50% chance that things stay the same that they are, if that high. And there's a 50% chance that I can't predict anything. And so making something like a manufacturing facility, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars
Yes.
to construct a manufacturing facility. And we're talking about a lead time of 3 to 4 years. And so, in order to do that, you need to reasonably expect there to be demand, reasonably expect there to be a competitive edge to doing this sort of thing, reasonably expect there to be funding to continue the construction of this, because the funding needs to be consistent across 4 years in order to produce that thing. And for there to be a workforce after that. And absolutely no company feels confident in making that sort of choice. So right now, people are holding on to their money. This is a classic economic scenario where it's essentially what the Federal Reserve is trying to prevent with decreasing interest rates. Is you are trying to keep commerce moving at all times, and unpredictability causes businesses, which are the greatest holders of wealth, are businesses, and they're also the biggest holders of debt and credit.
Sure.
It causes all of them to hold on to things and see where things will fall. And that is what creates significant economic downturn, is when people stop making deals, stop making changes, stop exchanging commerce, because the economy, it's not about the total amount of money that is made, it's about the total amount of money that changes hands, and
Ooh.
how quickly it changes hands. And so the best economy possible is one where a single dollar moves 365 times throughout that year. It's coming in and it's going out and it's producing things. And that commerce allows for work to churn forward. And at some point, the dollar literally can't keep, the dollar is literally outpacing the speed of labor. And that's when it's impossible for it to move any further than that. But right now, people will not pay for labor. So there's going to be a bunch of capital that is just sitting. And I think that
Yep.
we see this in the actual financial markets, where there's a strange amount of price pressure up on businesses that are announcing negative numbers, and it's because people do not want to move their money in or out of anything right now.
Exactly.
They Because you have to do something with it, and no one has an idea of what are you going to put into bonds. The bond market's insane right now, so it's like it's all crazy. And then the other thing with all development projects, and I'm involved in a number of these, um, with all development projects, is that they generally, especially large 100, $200 million projects, they generally involve some amount of government involvement, either rezoning, appropriations, TIF bonds, other forms of bonds, um, federally restructured loans. There's a million different mechanisms by which the government makes infrastructure growth easier. And I think that the big news that is going to change how businesses look at this is this Intel thing that just happened, where the government
Oh yeah, yeah,
recursively
yeah.
said we've been giving chips money to Intel, and we haven't gotten anything from it. This is classic Donald Trump thinking here, right? Is that the government is a player, the government is a business, and
It
the
is not.
government is not investing in overall economic welfare, which obviously raises tax revenues. The government must also receive something for every dollar that it puts out, which makes sense for a business, because a business operates on how well it does. It doesn't operate on how well the American economy does. So when it makes an investment, it wants direct impact, because it is not receiving money from every single person in the country. The government has recursively gone to Intel and said, we've paid about half of this grants.
Grants.
We've paid about half of this grant, and for your project to be successful, you need the rest of the money, or else it's just dead money. And so what we're going to say is, here's the total amount of the grant. Give us the amount of money, or the amount of
Shares or something. They want
stock in the
ownership.
company. Thank you. I was just completely missing a word. Give me the number of shares that are equal to that amount of money, and it'll be an investment and not a grant anymore. And they've recursively gone back, and Intel has been strong armed into taking this deal. That precedent makes it much riskier for any entity to enter into a federally predicated contract of any sort. Federal bonds, tax write-offs, federally structured loans, any of the mechanisms that businesses rely upon in order to create economic engines. Now they're seeing this is not something that we can factor into our accounting sheet in any way other than seeing it as a private investment. And so the total amount of capital that's out there in order to increase economic output has just fallen by nearly $1 trillion in terms of
Wow.
how businesses think about it. There's about $2 trillion in grants every year from the federal government, state governments, and private governments, and a lot of that is for defense. But the
Which Trump
situation
also
is now,
ownership of. He wants some ownership of.
yeah, he wants Lockheed Martin and Raytheon.
Yeah.
And so, even though the grants may still be out there, we've seen a complete takedown of the grant system in that grants that were going to be paid out are no longer reliable. And again, reliability is a huge problem for planning for businesses. So people are not going to put as much stock into getting a grant. And now they're seeing that grants can be used as leverage by the government, not just to, inflict compliance upon a business. That's something that people already know. People know that when you get a grant, you're going to be required to observe the American Civil Rights Act and the American Disabilities Act. People already know that. But now they see that without upfront knowledge, they will be signing a contract that the government can use this money as leverage recursively against them. And so as soon as they get into the spotlight, as soon as Trump sees them, they're going to be strong-armed retroactively into seeing this grant not as something which offsets costs in order to allow them to put more money into the economy, but as some sort of investment in which they do not even get to dictate the terms. So
Which
the
it
total
feels
amount
like
of new
communism.
economic activity is going to be a problem. Yeah, it certainly feels like socialism.
Yeah.
But the difference is, like in German socialism, when Germany takes stock in Airbus, it's an upfront investment. There are a number of businesses that I know would take that deal, would take a government investment and government owning stock. It just needs to be part of the original contract.
Right.
But the idea that you can receive money under certain terms, agree under those terms, and then have them changed retroactively under the awesome power of the government is a huge issue. And I think that we're going to see decreased investment in economic activity and facilities which can create economic growth because of this, which is exactly the opposite of what Trump has been saying that he wants in his entire campaign trail. He wants manufacturing. Guess what? There are basically no manufacturing plants by companies that are not already Fortune 500 that are being constructed without the assistance of government appropriations or government funding mechanisms. And now every growing business is going to see it as a deal with the devil. And that's, I don't know if you can change that over the next 3 years. People have already seen what happened to Intel. And so there are a lot of things that are going to cause this economy to stall. And it's going to be a sickness that is difficult to diagnose and difficult to see when it's happening, because there are so many different elements that are making the economy seem like it's doing better than it is. And things like this job report they're the little small symptoms. Things like, the economy it's actually the total value of the economy is around what it was before Trump got into office. So it actually hasn't been that bad. But the value of the dollar has gone down by 12%. So
that's a lot.
Even though the whole economy is worth the same number of dollars are less valuable. But that doesn't get included into a depression or recession forecast. So all of these factors are just slowly bringing down the value of our economy in a way that is difficult to see while it's happening. But I assure you, I work with businesses. It's happening. On this side of the aisle, it's happening.
I think if you have any level of actual isolationist, there's no way for that not to happen. There just isn't.
Yeah.
Like if you were being honest, that was always going to be what happened. I just think there's no honesty in this because one, Trump isn't smart enough to see what he's doing, and
Yep.
because he's so ego driven, and he's so vindictive that he will burn it all down just to get back at you. He doesn't care.
Yep.
It's terrible. It's ridiculous. It's awful.
It's terrible. I want to. I do think that if we're interested in setting a topic for next week,
Okay.
or at least one of the topics, I would be interested in talking about the Trump administration and their desire for the U.S. dollar to no longer be the international reserve currency. That, even as I say it, it's pretty dense.
Well, I think that we should do that, especially because I think it matches up with one of the podcasts we did, a year or two ago, where we were talking about the gold rush, and that there was a lot of weird legislation that was not just going into gold and having state treasuries start storing gold, but it also was talking a lot about digital money. It was like they were already preparing to destroy the dollar. It's just and I think we knew, we're like, something's going on here. They're planning for something, and so it's interesting, to have it kind of coalesce into something that I think that would be worth talking about. I feel like we're early, but that's okay. This is how long it took today.
Well, we got to talk about the scavenger hunt too.
You're right. I do have one more thing to talk about. As I said at the very beginning, I was struggling a little bit this week. I just was doing other stuff because I needed to be doing other stuff, because you just can't be consumed by politics 24/7. You can't. You won't sleep well, and you just won't have the energy you need to keep going. So let's see. Mamdani had a scavenger hunt, I believe, last weekend, and he invites the return of Fun City, according to the New York Sun. But he basically was saying the exact same thing that I just said, which was that you need to be able to enjoy yourself still, not just in New York City, but everywhere. He was on a podcast this week, and one of the things he said was that you need to have room for joy, and that if all you do is struggle and fight, we will exhaust ourselves, which is true. You cannot fight 24/7 and have the energy to do it in any kind of meaningful way, and to see the nuances of everything, and to really see what's happening if you're just fighting. And even he said that, and he said it so beautifully and eloquently, that I just want everybody to not feel bad about enjoying themselves, not feel bad about doing things that will distract you from this. A lot of times you see people that kind of get into these little thought loops where they're like, they don't want to hear about this bad thing that happened because there's even worse things out there that have happened. It's like, we're not in a competition for what sucks the most. It's not a competition. Have some fun if you can have some. You just don't have to be in this. I'm not saying ignore what's going on. You can't. You shouldn't. You should be civically involved where you can. But you can also, go get an ice cream cone. You could go on a scavenger hunt in New York City. You can twirl around in a field full of flowers. You can be frivolous. It's okay.
It totally is okay. And you just hope that there's someone out there, and I think Mamdani is doing a good job, that can bring back the sense of pride and optimism that is possible in politics and American life. I do think that there's a fair criticism, and I think it's anamorphized into this more vitriolic thing that's happening with Trump and the Smithsonian. But there's a fair criticism that among the left, everything has to be with a grain of salt. Every moment of joy has to be with a grain of salt, right? Every moment of celebration has to be with a grain of salt. Oh, we're celebrating Independence Day, but remember that they were slave owners. And it's like, yeah, man, right. I remember. I'm sure they were all let me tell you stuff about MLK, right? But he did good stuff. We can celebrate. Let's celebrate. And I think that there was a moment of left politics in which I don't think white guilt is the right word, but there's just a sense of generational American guilt, where it felt like it had to say sorry every moment of every
Yeah.
day of existing as an
We had to
American. It's
acknowledge
like,
that we were colonizers, at the end of every podcast, or
yeah.
whatever
Oh yeah,
terrible thing.
oh my God, the number of speeches that you would go to. Actually, you still see it. We went to Owen's graduation, and what was the very start of it? They were like, we would first like to acknowledge that this university is on stolen land, and I was like,
Yeah.
it's a graduation, dude. They didn't steal this land. Yes, it's bad. This cannot be every moment of every day, and so I just hope that someone on the left can bring the joy back, because there is an optimism to looking forward. So many things can be true simultaneously: pride, guilt, love, hate. Absolutely, Wendy. It's that there's just a lot. There's got to be room for joy, and I really like what Mom Donnie did here. And speaking of room for joy, is there anything you want to do at the end of the episode, Mom?
I think we've been playing time guesser, and I think it's something that we have to keep doing, because we talk about heavy stuff, and at the end of doing heavy stuff, we got to play a game. So let's play time guesser.
Let's play time guesser. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna remove that. I'm gonna figure out how to get the time guesser by going to the website Smart.
So time guesser is pretty cool. So they find these pictures from history, and you're trying to guess where it happened and when it happened.
Can you see this?
I can see it.
Nice. Oh boy. All right. Feels like COVID.
Feels like COVID. So 2019 or 2020?
Yeah, I mean, these are definitely. This might be in Wuhan.
Yeah, these all look like they're Asian, and I see some possible Asian writing there.
Does that look? I mean, I think that looks like Korean though.
Could be. I do not know my Asian, script at all.
It's this sort of smiley face one here is always the thing that tips me off, but it might not be. It might be Japanese. So I mean, clearly I don't actually know that well either. But Chinese generally is a little bit more. There's more lines. I just think that the impulse would be to say it's Wuhan because it's Asian and it's clearly COVID. Definitely 2020. That's a good start.
Well, I mean, I think it might be 2019. Miss Catherine thinks that it might be 2018 in China. She's going from China. Yep. I don't know if there's any other things in the background to give us any indication. I mean, it just looks like scaffolding.
Why do we think it's 2018?
I don't know. I would probably go 19, but
why do I think it's 19?
Well, because I think it started in 19, didn't it?
It started in 19, yeah.
Especially if we were still in China. If I feel like it was in the United States really in 2020, but like if this is the beginning, you think it's Korean? Also, that one guy's just got he doesn't even have a proper, he's just got a regular mask on. He doesn't have the full gear. What do you think's in that bag?
Looks like a wet bag.
Looks like a real wet bag.
Got booties on. I don't know, something weird. Okay, I can put 2019.
What if that bag is just full of, I'm just going to say something a little racist. What if it's just full of soy sauce?
Oh my God, Mom. Why would you say that?
Like soy sauce.
What possessed you to say that? Oh my God. What on earth, Mom? I mean, sometimes I'm like, cancel culture has gone too far. And sometimes I'm like, I think we should cancel my mom.
Okay, I saw a video the other day where they're in like a like your morning meeting type of thing, but they're all like they're in person, and somebody's giving a presentation, and they're like, so we're trying to see how long it's going to take the boss to realize that everybody's drinking out of non-cups. So one person was drinking out of like a Ziploc bag, so he's just drinking water out of a Ziploc bag. Somebody had a baby bottle. Somebody was just drinking out of a lid. They were just drinking out of like just unconventional things. And I think that's what set me off with that bag, was that I'm like, oh, it's just a bag of liquid for to drink out of. So, and then it was a weird color, so I went soy sauce. But I don't want to think it's a bag of blood. Why can't they just be in a soy sauce factory?
I thought it looked kind of blue. All right, are we saying 2019 Wuhan?
Sure, let's just do it.
What? I don't think it's Chinese either.
It doesn't look like Chinese.
It doesn't look like Chinese. All right, Ellie's
Well, you want to go
Ellie's
to
calling an audible.
which Korea do we want to go to? We've got those green and
It's
white
not North
stripes.
Korea.
Oh, because there was no
It's not North
images. We don't
Korea.
know what happened there.
It's gonna be Seoul. It's like, do you think it's Korean or do you think it's Japanese? Do you think it's Korean or Japanese?
Well,
Okay,
you
I'm
for
gonna
some
say
reason are
Korean.
leaning Korea, so let's go for it.
Japanese. All right.
Oh
Well,
man,
we were definitely still
11.
closer.
Oh, Fukushima. We
Fukushima.
did.
Oh, it's the earthquake and tsunami in Fukushima.
What do you think was in that bag then? Probably not soy sauce.
I'm not answering it. No. Give me a break. All right, black and white. I mean, just burying yourself a hole. All right.
Oh
Well,
gosh, I'm
I
so
think that
sorry.
this is clearly 2015.
Oh yeah, 2015. Just
Okay,
fly bothering me.
that says Calcada and Caetanos
Where do you see that? Oh, kind of building?
on this black sign over here,
Oh,
something like that.
okay. I don't know why I want to say that we're like either in Greece or Italy. I don't know why I want to say that.
It's got a little bit of that vibe. It's. I mean, look at this. Look at this dapper young gentleman. I
It's
mean,
probably
there are
not
so
Belgium.
many things that make you think that there's a flag,
Yeah,
and
I know. I
yet
just kind of want to get in on that flag a little bit more.
like this one right here.
Yeah. Oh, wait. We can see
This is like the
something on that flag.
Vatican.
Oh, that would be
Yeah,
interesting.
it would be interesting. I don't actually think it's the
I mean,
Vatican, but
their city is built like with a wall around it, and I mean, I feel like the buildings might actually be built into the wall, where the Vatican doesn't seem like a terrible guess. Vatican City. I don't know though.
yeah, man, there's
Wendy H
usually
is
better clues than this.
Wendy H is guessing that we're around the Great Depression and that we're either in Italy or Romania.
Italy or Romania? Okay. Well, Great Depression's like 1929. And then
I can't quite get. Okay,
I mean,
ethnically,
these
it
are
is.
some darker gentlemen, I think, but it might just be the black and white of
It
it
looks
all.
like a little person.
I think it could be Romania. Um, these guys look Romanian. I don't know.
They're a little
there's
bit darker.
they are a little
Oh,
bit
we see
darker, right?
some little bit more flag action. That one looks white.
I think it could be Turkey or I mean Romania. I think it's good.
Mm,
Let's try Bucharest.
okay, let's
I
go
like the
Bucharest.
Romania guess. Let's try it. 1918, Portugal.
Portugal. We were way
Eesh.
off. I mean, we were
Crowds
nowhere. We
gathered
were.
outside the Lisbon headquarters of the newspaper O Século in November of 1918 to celebrate the Allied victory at the end of World War One and thank the newspaper for its rapid reporting of the armistice.
Portugal.
It's a fun photo.
Okay.
Okay,
Does
Italian
this
delegate.
Italian? Oh, it does say that delegation Italian.
But
Let's
this is
take this.
French, isn't it?
Yeah, that looks like French.
Sophia 28-7 through 6-8. Okay, well, I mean, you could have given me a year, guys. Come on, don't you know this
Oh,
is going to
can
be
we?
I'm guessing like
Oh, what's that say? I don't know what the heck that says.
KGAUHAPEH MAAA 3 weird symbol, weird symbol.
What language is that?
I know this
Okay,
feels AI generated.
can we look at these? Are these white people? Those do look like white people with fun glasses.
I think that this is the Italian delegation. This guy looks like a wise guy.
Wise guy.
It's not as bad as soy sauce. Give me a break.
No, it's not as bad. Uh, okay. Oh yeah, what if we
Wow,
got jammed into his pants?
this is a pretty hard round.
It is also the picture that they're holding. Who are they holding this picture of? Who is this?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. He looks like he's from Nepal or something.
He does look like he's from Nepal. Let's
And
go
then
with Nepal.
You think so?
Oh, oh,
Does Nepal speak French?
I don't know. But Nepal has like two A's in a row, right? And that one word had like three A's in a row. No, it's no. There's not. There's not two A's in a row.
I think we're in Kathmandu.
Probably not.
I'm getting a call from Alice right now.
I'm just
Okay.
baffled.
I mean, this is like a truly confusing photo.
Right? Because I don't even know what, are we in the 50s or are we earlier? They're students. Or are we later? The lady with the sunglasses looks pretty rad.
I'd be surprised if we're later than the 50s. Maybe. Dude, this is one of the weirdest. This is the weirdest. I'm gonna say 1960. And then I mean, Nepal feels crazy. Like, I think that this might be. Where the hell are we?
I don't know. What's near Nepal?
Switzerland?
I don't think we're in Switzerland.
Dude, I don't know.
That means we're in Switzerland. Man, we're doing so bad this time.
Something. Yeah. These two look like railways. Yeah. And this is Yemen, and then back there, that looks like Arabic.
It does look like Arabic. Well, shoot, now it's getting real hard. What is this festival?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think these guys all just showed up somewhere random to make a really hard time together. Okay, well, I'm going to say Kathmandu. I've never been less confident in a
Sure,
there is a mountain back there, so yeah.
Let's just guess. Right. I mean, where is it?
Members of the Italian delegation marching towards Levski Stadium in Sofia, Bulgaria, for the opening ceremony of the 9th World Festival of Youth and Students, carrying portraits of Vietnamese leader Ho Chi Minh as a sign of solidarity. Okay, today's daily, they are messing with us, is what I'm convinced of. They have Italian students in Bulgaria holding a Vietnamese leader.
And they're signing French.
Meant to mess with us. And the sign is in French because I guess I don't know, man. Okay. Oh, okay. Well, look at this. It's Arabic letters, so we're probably in Minnesota. First round. I mean, is
this like a snazzy casino? What is this? This is pretty fun. Who's that guy on the sign? I just want to go look at his hair.
On the sign?
Yeah, above the. Yeah, who's that guy?
Is he wearing a fez?
I don't know. Is it a fez? First, I thought it was a pompadour. Do you think it's a pompadour?
I don't know what a pompadour is.
That's like when you have a big swoop of hair on the top of your head.
No, I don't. I think it's a hat. Okay. Well,
Wendy says Las Vegas.
Definitely Arabic, but then they've got like the Jesus fish, which is interesting. Syria?
I mean, it's good enough for me. I have no idea.
Right? I guess that's.
Do they have a casino?
Syria.
I feel like we're in a casino.
What makes you think there's a casino? Okay, just the big.
I feel like that's like the Wayne Newton of Syria up there. That's the sign up there. Or he could be the Shah. Maybe he's a Shah that likes to do karaoke. I don't know, man. Who's that guy?
Okay, that's fun.
Okay, these cars look like 70s cars.
And then that Omega, is it a?
That's a watch. Omega's watches.
You know what? I feel like it's Turkey. I feel like the Fez, and then the fact that there's a Greek letter right here.
Okay, Wendy's guessing Morocco, which I also kind of like, but
Morocco's a good guess. Oh man, wait. Libya? Wait. Okay, look at this shape.
Is that Muammar Gaddafi up there?
Is that Muammar Gaddafi? And then Libya. Look at Libya. It's Libya.
It's Libya.
It's Libya.
Oh my gosh, that is the shape of Libya.
Wow, that is the shape of.
So where's the?
Are we in Benghazi or Tripoli? What's the most likely place for it to be?
Yeah, where would we party at? Benghazi doesn't seem
Partying
like the
in
place.
Benghazi.
That sounds like a scary place. Let's see.
Libya? Oh, yeah. I mean, come
I mean, I don't know. Tripoli looks a little more fun.
on. Yeah, I mean, let's say Tripoli, unless there's like some city in Libya that I'm just like nothing of. I mean, it does look like they have trees, right? So it's got to be north. So it feels like it's either Benghazi or Tripoli. Um,
I mean, I'd be happy if we're in the right country. Okay, so when do we think this is?
I'm so confident. Um,
So, I
those
mean,
cars it's got to be after the 60s, right?
it's gotta be because I feel like cars were really big and then suddenly they got small. These are pretty small cars. Although we're not in the United States, but when did cars start to get small like that?
Although we've got some like that looks like a Volkswagen Bug down there, which is a little bit older.
Yeah,
I don't know. We think
I feel like 60s or 70s. I want to go
well, when
70s.
was who's the Libyan president you were mentioning? Gaddafi?
Yeah,
Well, when would he have been this young?
maybe this is the 80s. Wendy H says
I'm gonna
1978. Let's go with it.
1978. Thank you, Wendy. 1986. It was closer, and it was
Oh,
Libya, and it was the right city.
oh,
Oh,
wow.
wow! What a Libya pull, man! I mean, I am tooting my own horn, but come on, that's pretty good. New York, Nathan's. We're in Coney Island, baby. Come on.
Are we?
I think so.
Okay.
Original
Nathan's. Yeah.
Nathan's. Yeah. I mean,
Let's
I
see.
assume we're in Coney Island.
Now we got to look at their shoes and their dresses. Oh, look at that boy's in a little sailor suit.
Oh, 5 cents.
I mean, she's got
5
white
cents
shoes
for a
on.
Frankfurter.
It's got to be after Labor Day or before Labor Day. I can't remember what the Labor Day rules are. Let's see. No, I don't. I don't want to look at this. Are you looking for to see if it just says somewhere what year it is?
Yeah.
All right, we got
I
flat.
mean, look at this guy's
Yeah.
shorts. Good
They're
shorts.
pretty snazzy. They're pretty snazzy.
This one looks real fancy, though.
Okay,
I mean,
so
I
is
kind of
it
want to say 50s.
Yeah, it could be the
40s.
50s. 40s? I don't really think about that one.
5 cents. 5 cents
I
for a
mean,
root beer.
that
10 cents
one
for a
guy
Frankfurter.
had. Yeah, I like the 50s. I think. Oh, you're looking at the prices of things. Okay, that's true. 5 cents for all soft drinks. 10-cent Frankfurters. Goodness gracious.
Bring me to Coney Island.
So this guy's got a hat on, but it seems like most people don't have hats on. But that one little kid had
Right.
like a little sailor suit on.
All right. Well, we got the corner. I guess. No, that feels right.
Let's go with like 52.
52.
47.
Oh man, I got the corner. Come on, baby. 47.
You did get the corner.
Let's go. All right. Not amazing. I
Not
mean, the Nepal
amazing.
guess really. The Nepal and the Romania were just rough. But we are right on it with
We had
Libya.
no
We're right
idea
on
what
with
we
New
were
York.
looking at. We were baffled.
Some of those were insane. That was made to mess with us. But
I
you
mean,
know what?
we're just over, we made it just over 50%.
Just over 50%. Well, that was fun. Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Wendy, Addie, Miss Catherine. I'm missing people. I know I am. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Barbie. Thank you, Jane D. Thank you, Wixie D. I think I got everyone.
I think so.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you. And, make room for joy. It's okay.
Make room for joy. And thank you to the person that just tuned in right now as we are doing the thank yous. we're about to log off, but man, did we have a rip roaring round of Time Guesser?
We did.
It was
We did.
it was a
Not
show.
good. But all right.
All right. Thanks
See
everybody.
y'all
Have a great
later.
week. Yeah.